Alrighty, looks like we are ready for our third round today, our third match of Battle for Wisconsin playoffs. And we definitely have an exciting one with Stevens Point versus Milwaukee. Two very strong teams. I'm Rattler. I'm the tank player for MSOE. Evan, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hello, I am Nave. I'm a DPS player for MSOE. And yeah, should be an exciting game. Hopefully, it's as good as the last one. Last one was a great game. I hope this is just as good.
Very true. Very close. All right, and us at MSOE, we have to fight whoever wins if we end up winning our game. Or I guess the winner of our game is going to have to fight the winner of this game. So that would be very exciting.
Yeah. Potential for some Milwaukee v. Milwaukee matchup.
That's true.
If we both end up winning. And
that's true.
That game would be...
or if we both end up losing.
that too. So that's exciting as we get into Lijiang Tower immediately. Starting in Guardians.
Team with the mirror, not very surprising. Pretty typical. Because I'm curious to see if this point will opt for this meta or not. Team Milwaukee is.
Yeah, Arisa, boring hero. It is meta though. They really should have nerfed it going into the new season, but they didn't. And so here we are. Arisa mirror once again. Different DPS though. We got the Sojourn for Stevens Point versus the Reaper of Milwaukee.
That's true. It's actually very similar to what we saw in the last match, or last match. Close. Got the Kiri, but didn't get the Kiri.
Yeah, and well, TP.
All right, this teleporter is going to give Milwaukee some early point control. Let's see what happens here. And looks like, wow, Shrami going to be falling really early.
Yeah, not sure exactly what happened there. Suzu doesn't come out. And just kind of a scrappy fight all around. Picks going the other way. But
Very true.
Stevens Point. Oh, well, maybe. Distinct-ish with the headshot on the Tracer. No, but
yeah,
Stevens Point, they're going to cap.
Scrappy is the perfect word to describe that fight. The Milwaukee are coming back in.
Yeah, they get the respawns fast-ish, already finding the kill into the Kiriko. As, yeah, Milwaukee, it looks like they should be able to clean up this fight, but once again, the kicks come back through the other way. But I think they...
And just a lone Tracer, struggling for a couple more %.
Yeah, finally we'll go down as Milwaukee does get the flip, and the Death Blossom is already online for Jason. He's putting a lot of work on this Reaper. It's a very effective pick if you can be in these all-out brawls.
Very true. And something definitely worth highlighting is Distinct-ish on that Kiriko with 85% to the Kitsune, with the other Kiri, Toreador? Toreador, only at around 60. So, and we're about to see that difference right now. Jason needs help.
The pulse bomb though takes out Dish, but that Death Blossom in the Kitsune rush.
And Overlock. That is true. And they committed the overclock there as well. A little bit unfortunate. But let's see how these Orisa ults stack up this fight.
Yeah, and now Toreador is going to be able to get this Kitsune rush. They can engage pretty quickly there. He's still down a few members. As we see the beat from Dish to counter the Orisa ult, and
it's a good beat.
Yeah, it's a really good beat. Counters all the aggression that Stevens Point had there. They choose to not use the Kitsune rush, and they will concede the fight. But now they have it for the recontest. I think they're still 40% away from their own Kitsune rush.
Yeah, Moonshot gonna try and have to make something happen with this Pulse Bomb. Let's see what he can do. Other Tracer for Stevens Point also coming close. Still have the Suzu available.
Yep. Moonshot though kind of weak. Can't really engage without the recall. Doesn't really have the opportunity to go look for this Pulse Bomb. But it is Shrami falling down before that Kitsune rush can come out. The stick is good, but it is onto the Orisa, and Suzu will prevent all the damage there. So even with this Kitsune rush from Stevens Point, without the Orisa control, I don't think they're able to win this one.
Point playing very scared.
Yep. And this long extended fight, Stevens Point has the cap this whole time. So even though Milwaukee, you know, they were down a few and they kept going, and Stevens Point getting a lot of percent before that fight was even over. Now they're already at 60%. So we're looking at like 2 fights here.
Maybe only 1. Yeah.
Milwaukee doesn't really have anything because they kept investing. Dish still a little bit ways away from that sound barrier. Stevens Point gonna have double support ults before then.
Plus, we're gonna have the Terra Surge even before Dish can get his sound barrier.
So Milwaukee, they need to find some pick without any ults here. There's the Orisa ult. Really big. Does force the beat. It's a very good beat.
Managed to get it in time.
Yeah, but this Kitsune rush and the overclock, Milwaukee, they just can't walk into this. And once that Kitsune rush is over, that the beat from Stevens Point is going to stop the aggression more. Somebody does need to touch the point.
Maybe the final nail in the coffin, although the Terra Surge, we'll see.
Dish off the map.
Ends up going off the map.
The beat's good for Stevens Point. And Jason falls too. Moonshot, no recall. It's going to go down.
All
and
right.
it's going to be the first round of Stevens Point.
Yeah, first round, a little bit sloppy in those first couple fights, but Stevens Point really managed to pull it together. They really assessed what Milwaukee was trying to do with their comp, and they really targeted it. I think a little unlucky with the Dish going off the map there in that last fight, but not really. Honestly, I'm not sure it would have changed much. Even if it did, with the sound barrier from Takashin, I mean, it's too much for a lone Terra Surge to handle.
The ult advantage was just too much, and they really had that big ult advantage from that one fight. That extended fight where Stevens Point, they found the cap midway through the fight, and Milwaukee, they kept investing. They used the Reaper ult late. They didn't find the kills they needed. They staggered themselves out, and the ult economy was busted for the rest of the round.
Very true.
As we see a May now for Stevens Point instead of Tracer.
All right, Maywall doesn't quite find anything. The Orisa dropping quite low, forcing the Suzu. A lot of cooldowns being invested in this fight here, and looks like Stevens Point's going to end up with control over White, and looks like Shremmy's going to fall. Leveraging this fight, 4 points, and they're going to get first cap.
Yep. The May pressure, just a little too much for Milwaukee to handle there, as Moonshot never really able to find their way into the back line.
As they make the swap onto the May. Yep.
There you go. We're going to have a complete mirror now from Milwaukee. They are behind in ultimates a little bit, not too much.
It really could be worse, honestly. I thought it would be worse considering the way the last fight went.
Only 30% of this turn. It's really not too bad.
Alright. Let's see if Toreador can farm this Kitsune rush in time. Oh my goodness. The numbers in Milwaukee. Floundering to make something work without their tank.
Yeah, I feel like it's happening every single fight where Shrammy gets really low really quickly. And
very true.
It seems like they're always the one to fall first, which you don't want to have that happen as your Orisa. Like, that just cannot happen.
They do tend to end up isolating himself. Let's see. She's going to follow this fight along with Shrammy. The Kitsune rush was banked for Milwaukee, but that's about it, and really looking like it's going to be an ult advantage for Milwaukee going into this next fight.
Yeah, not by too much though.
That's
I mean,
Depends
you do have the extra Orisa ult, but sometimes can be hard to get value, and with how low Shrammy's been getting early in these fights, they might have to end up using it defensively. There's the wall.
Wall coming out. Blizzard not getting much value. Sound barriers come out from both teams, and then you have the overclock here.
Yeah, it's a better overclock for Stevens Point.
It's true.
Fortunately, Jason just not able to find the value on the flank, and should clean up the fight. And I don't know if anyone from Milwaukee can even touch this point.
Doesn't seem like it. That may have been the final nail in the coffin for map 1 here.
Yep. As it was a good map from Stevens Point overall. A little mistake early on in round 1, but Control Center was very dominant.
True, yeah, they did a great job adapting. Once they found what they were doing wrong, they isolated that and they took out that problem. That's a very heads-up play you don't see from a lot of teams. So nice work from them. Let's see if Milwaukee can bring that one back.
Yeah, and I wonder what map pick do you go to here?
That's a great question.
Circuit Royale has been very popular for a lot of teams in this tournament. And it's really, if you feel confident in your long-range DPS, you know, your Widows, your Hanzos, you feel like you can play that map. I actually remember a while, like months ago, when we played, when MSOE was playing Milwaukee in NECC, Milwaukee did actually pick Circuit Royale as a escort map. So they might do the same here. I'm not sure.
Certainly possible. Yeah, I know. And on the side of Stevens Point, they did have a very talented Sojourn who ended up having some really great overclocks, some really great mechanics, excellent positioning, finding those angles to isolate, and being a great distraction for their team. And I tend to think that being proficient in Sojourn leads to being proficient in other long-ranged hit scan DPS, but we'll see. We could also see for sure your Route 66 or your Rialto. You never know. They might want to swap over to more of a dive to see if they can isolate those DPS players that are really taking advantage of these off angles.
Yeah, I mean, dive's always exciting to watch.
Very true.
I'm always down to watch Route 66. I actually really like to watch that map. Play, you know, it's another story. But I think watching that map is quite exciting.
That's an excellent point.
So I'd be okay with that pick.
All right, and it looks like Milwaukee is looking like they're going to take a timeout here. So we're going to take a real quick break, probably close to around 3 to 5 minutes, and we will be right back in with more coverage shortly.
Cause I don't know if it'll be enough, or if there's a way out. There's a stairway down for the both of us, but I won't have it. I don't know how we got here. Oh my, I think we better run. We ought to leave this place tonight. I'm telling you. Pack up your suitcase, we'll find a new place. We'll cross the border, can't stay no longer in this. I don't wanna waste no time. Feel it coming now, it's a sign. Never felt like this in my life. Not waiting a minute. Awaken my spirit now. You got me thinking, whoa. I don't know how we got here. Oh my, I think we better run. We ought to leave this place tonight. I'm telling you. Just one glass in, you're already on my mind. When it gets late, I always realize that I need you. Are you thinking about me too tonight? It's no secret, all my friends already know. There's no reason to hold it back, I let it show. All my feelings, are you thinking about me too tonight? Your hands around my waist, just let the music play. Like a drug, I am hooked on you. Sweeter than summer wine, baby, just hold me tight. Like a drug, I am hooked on you. And that makes me say, oh man, you make it feel like paradise. Goddamn, I think I'm gonna lose my mind. Oh man, you make it feel like paradise. Paradise. I'm taking a mental picture in my mind just to keep this moment till the end of time. 'Cause I know that it might be over after tonight. So before I change my mind, your hands around my waist, just let the music play. Like a drug, I am hooked on you. Sweeter than summer wine, baby, just hold me tight. Like a drug, I am hooked on you. And that makes me say, oh man, you make it feel like paradise. Goddamn, I think I'm gonna lose my mind. Oh man, you make it feel like paradise. Paradise. Bittersweet, give it to me. If it's only for tonight, it's bittersweet, give it to me. If it's only for tonight, it's bittersweet, give it to me. If it's only for tonight, it's bittersweet, give it to me. Oh man, you make it feel like paradise. Goddamn, I think I'm gonna lose my mind. Oh man, you make it feel like paradise. Paradise. Oh man, you make it feel like paradise. Goddamn, I think I'm gonna lose my mind. Oh man, you make it feel like paradise. Paradise. Bittersweet, give it to me. If it's only for tonight, it's bittersweet, give it to me. If it's only
Alrighty, we are back in to our second map of the Battle for Wisconsin playoffs. Stevens Points versus Milwaukee. It was a great map for the first map on Lijiang. Definitely a little bit to be desired from Milwaukee, but I'm sure this they've talked it over. They've got some new strats, and they are on the map pick.
Yeah, we'll see what they pick here.
All right, looks like they've
This
picked
looks like Rialto is going to be the
Rialto.
pick, actually. Interesting choice. It is a poke map, but it's not as like poke heavy as like a Circuit Royale, for
That's
example.
true. That's true. If you
So-
want to play dive on Rialto, you can play dive on Rialto. That's
Yeah.
something that can absolutely work.
Definitely. Excited to see what comps they go with. I imagine we'll see more of the Sojourn, maybe even a Hanzo, perhaps.
That's true. That's true. I would be a little surprised not to still see the Arisamir, but also, you know, a Sigma in there makes a lot of sense. But we could even see something a little more spicy even. We could see, I mean, it's not unheard of to see Roadhog from the defenders or the attackers. It's not unheard of to see
If we
other
see a
stuff like
Roadhog
that.
today, it'd be,
Well, I mean,
that'll
you
be
never know.
something.
You never know. I'm excited. Whatever we see, I'm excited.
Which skin? Oh, what Widow skin should I use? Maybe a Widow, perhaps? From Stevens Point?
Ready for battle.
No. It looks like it's actually going to be the Mei pick instead. So they were lying.
Tricky from Stevens Point.
Yeah, interesting. We're seeing the Mei here. Mei Ram. So they're not going to go with the poke. They're going to go with the rush instead. I actually really like Mei on Rialto, but I think I'm in the minority in that. I think more people would probably rather play like longer range DPS. But if you're gonna go with this Ram Brawl comp, I think it works great.
I think Mei meshes really well with that comp. I think isolating that Orisa and forcing that Kiri to use cooldowns she wouldn't otherwise use is a really big deal. And let's see how to leverage this.
Yeah, and actually the most important thing with Mei is to play this corner, but
Right.
Specs already finding the pick.
Right away.
Questions marks coming out.
We love to see it.
There's
Immediately
the wall.
walled
Specs
off.
taking a lot of damage, but the Suzu and the spear spin, Orisa is unkillable.
Classic. Alright, Corridor does fall, and it looks like we're gonna be favored for the attackers here.
Yeah, I mean once your Lucio falls,
Not much you can do there.
gets kind of hard.
Alright.
See Jason now taking the high ground.
It's a good spot to be.
These angles.
Specs dropping quite low, but also Lemony's forced to back off. Really just trying to contest his point for now as much as they can. Coming up on that window on the side of Corridor. Although Specs just almost had his ult, but he dies. Looks like they are going to be able to hold it.
Have to be careful
wow.
here. The pulse bomb is good. The lamp just a second too late from Toreador.
True. If Specs can get back in time, and it looks like he just might. This fight could
Jason
easily
got
go in
caught up.
favor.
Yeah, it ends up just being a trade of Sojourns here. The window does come out here from Steven's point, but walking
right past
through
it.
to Specs that he can't take a lot
Used
of
all the
damage.
cooldowns to get there, and you can't use them to get out.
Yeah, the Kitsune rush from Distinctish able to burn down the Orisa. Actually, not sorry. Excuse me.
They had the
There was
Blizzard. They committed the Blizzard.
Yeah, sorry. The Kitsune was from Milwaukee. It's not not enough to save the Orisa. As they do end up investing those two ults. As Steven's point now gonna match Milwaukee with this beat, but we do have a Ram ult coming out.
Alright, nice slow engage. Maybe a little too slow. Gets caught out. Looking to try and maybe leverage some ults. Railgun online. Does manage to pick Toreador. Specs falls, but let's see if we can get any picks out of this. But no. Akaluba. Come back.
Yeah,
An overclock
Jason,
on his own.
he got the pick on the Baptiste, and he thought, you know, this is a chance, gonna use the overclock, but the counter overclock there
nice
will shut
try.
that push down.
Yeah, tuck your chin, looking for something silly. Not
I hope
quite
he
gonna
doesn't
find
get
it.
picked off again doing that.
Alright, only 1 minute left on the clock here for Milwaukee. They're gonna have to make this beat a big one.
Yeah, quickly running out of time. There's the Ram ult, beat the counter.
Good beat. Kiting back, I like that. And to Steven's point, with a really, the Pier and Milwaukee have made it the correct read, and made Tuckerchin think he had a beat, and he does not.
Yeah, now this Orisa ult kind of just walked through. But the Blizzard,
True.
once again, is there. It'd probably be the counter right on top of the Orisa ult again. Pulse bomb goes
Right,
wide.
doesn't quite connect.
Ice block.
A lot of ultimates here. Specs ends up falling. Sinner Rush was committed. It's looking like it's going to be last fight.
Once again, Jason getting a
Big
pick
falls.
though. It's not over for Milwaukee.
It really is not. Somebody's quite low.
If
Baptiste,
Jason's
somebody
80% to
keep him up.
this overclock, they might be able to get it as Specs comes back on the Doomfist.
Oh my goodness, they need to take care of this Ramatra standing on the point as the Moonshot falls.
Huge
Oh,
boom.
it's a big punch from Specs.
And now the overclock from both teams actually, but the beat is there from Tuckerchin.
Just gets us off.
Just a scrappy fight. Specs finding another pick there on the Sojourn, and
Both of them fall.
the Ram is so weak, looking for the punches, not able to find it. And I think that is Milwaukee going to be able to catch
Just go in favor of Milwaukee. It's not over yet. Okay, it's over.
Yeah, Specs with a great swap onto the Doomfist, finding 2 picks in that fight. Really,
Very
really
clutch.
clutch from him. And he's gonna swap back. Doesn't care about the Meteor Strike.
Well, makes sense.
Just swap back to the Orisa.
No, I think something like a Baptiste on the side of Milwaukee might end up actually potentially getting a little more value than the Kiriko, if you think about it. As that Kiriko doesn't have quite as much group healing that Orisa really likes to have. Although the Kiri does allow plays like that, where if your Orisa is isolated by an ice wall, you can pretty much bail them out right away. Oh my gosh, Moonshot dropping very low, forcing the Immortality Shield. Oriador falls. Link support for the defense. All the supports from the defense are down. It's looking like it's just a matter of time until we are capping this point. Almost certainly we're going to see a touch.
Milwaukee just going to walk forward on this Orisa. Moonshot does fall, though. And Stevens Point looking to re-engage now. A lot of pressure on the Specs.
And a lot of ults. As Distinction and Dish fall along with Specs, and that is going to be a fight favored for point.
Yeah, the Ram ult plus the window, just a little too much for Milwaukee.
Not a lot of ults
even
for them.
with the Kitsune,
Yeah.
they just don't have the sustain to live through that. But now they're gonna have this a slight ult advantage for Milwaukee.
Yeah, let's see what this Orisa ult can do. It looks like Tokyo Chain is building his beat pretty quick. They are going to have it for that, but the Pulse Bomb, I think, is really going to be the deciding factor of this fight. Let's see if we can get a good stick.
Specs just dies. Only 30 seconds left now for Milwaukee. Stevens Point looking to try to get more picks to prevent them from having the fight. Jason just going to use the overclock anyways, trying to find any value. Dish so low, does live, gets that mega, and Jason does find the pick. Moonshot now.
Up to Moonshot to touch.
He dies.
Doesn't manage to get there.
Can anyone else even make it? Yes, the Orisa's on the point.
You're close.
And the beat is from Dish.
Uh-oh. Alright, Orisa ult delaying the inevitable. It's fine time for the Kiriko to get back.
Yeah, but this window. Without the Lucio to speed you lane.
Just a little too much for Milwaukee to handle.
Yep. And the push will end right there. Not great if you're Milwaukee.
Not great, that's true. But you know what? Perfectly winnable. Absolutely winnable.
It is very winnable. You can easily hold them on first tier. You know, that archway. Many a hold has happened there in the past.
Very true, very true.
And I think the poke from Milwaukee is going to be a little bit stronger on defense versus the Ram comp. You have a little bit more angles you can set up with.
That is true.
Jason has been really a big factor for Milwaukee this map. They've been finding picks seemingly every fight and really kept them in this game. And that's going to be their key to victory here.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah, these off angles from Jason have really been drawing a lot of attention, and they've really been putting in a lot of work, especially towards farming those overclocks. While the overclocks themselves have maybe been a little bit lackluster, that's all in shape to change in this round.
Oh yes, of course. We're gonna see 5-mana overclocks every fight, guaranteed. As we see the same thing, we do have a soldier for Milwaukee instead of the tracer. I do like it more the hard poke.
True. They are all stacked on the same angle. Maybe not exactly what you want to be doing if you're Milwaukee.
They do have the Orisa anchoring the corner, but yeah, both DPS sitting on that high ground. We'll see what Stevens Point should do. They look like they're gonna walk up this high ground, contest those DPS.
I want to get these guys out here.
Yep. Moonshot trying to hide in the corner. The boop down though. The ram goes to the low ground. And the rest of Stevens Point is just going to drop back to point. They do successfully get the DPS off the high ground though.
And looks like that pressure from Jason and Moonshot really forcing Lemonies to play a little bit passively. Every time he tries to walk forward, it's all eyes on him.
There's the pick.
Quick pick on Jason. Opening up for his team. Lemonies does go down.
Yeah, the window just not fast enough, and no immortality for the Ram. As Milwaukee, they will just regroup player on this arch, and Tuck Your Chin gets caught off. And as long as Specs can stay alive here, okay, they're gonna use the Kitsune.
You know what? I think that's worth. I think that's worth.
Yeah, it was getting a little sketchy there. Even though Stevens Point didn't have their tank, Specs was very low, and
Specs
if he fell,
off as well.
I think Stevens Point do win the fight if Specs falls there. So yeah, you just commit the Kitsune. It's not the end of the world. Of course, Toreador did use the window in the same fight.
That's true, and Lemony is also making the swap to mirror the Orisa.
Yeah, as Stevens Point now gonna go on the high ground. The wall.
Oh
so
my
close.
goodness!
Jason. As now they're dropping behind. Somebody looks like they're caught. I can't see who that is. Beat is there.
All right, Specs goes very low. We got an overclock from Jason.
Not able to find too much value as Stevens Point, they just kind of waited out. Now they're going to go with the beat engage.
Now the beat engage, yep. And I suppose that's what happens when you engage with beat into this comp. Although Disco's falls, so does Lemonies. Looking like it's going to be in the favor of Milwaukee, but Specs falls too.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 2v3 in favor of Milwaukee, and Moonshot still has this visor if they can stay alive, but they cannot. The overclock is quite good.
Oh,
but
Anthem dies.
We'll see who can get the respawns here first. And Milwaukee, they got the closer spawns, so they should be able to hold on here. And they didn't use the visor in last fight, so they will have it here along with the Kitsune rush. So you can definitely visor rush on point. Very strong combo.
Very true.
As don't look now, but it is last fight. So the first point hold could definitely happen here for Milwaukee.
The dream is alive. Let's see, it's a good wall.
Not able to. It does catch Jason. Here's the Kitsune and the visor.
Kitsune visor, but Moonshot goes down. Members of point are very low, but Milwaukee can't quite manage to convert it. Looking like it's going to be a cap for point here.
Yeah, even with the Kitsune rush, walking into the window, just that hurts. And Moonshot just falling before they could find any value out of that visor. As you know, Milwaukee, they did push it most of the way through B, so you know, it's not like it's one fight territory, but it is like 1.5 really. That's
true. That is true. And honestly, this point is such a C9able point. So if Milwaukee's not careful, they could let the car push too far. You never know.
Yep.
2 minutes to hold this, definitely doable. Although Point seems to have the ult advantage right now. Dish coming up on his sound barrier. He's gonna need to charge it fast.
Looks like they're gonna go for the Blizzard here soon. I imagine once that
the cooldowns, yeah.
See double beat for both teams. There's the Blizzard. I catches Moonshot. As Specs going for their own.
It's a really good. All right.
Cool, just dodges it.
Surge does manage to find value.
And Jason, he's on the high ground. He's getting so much value on this off angle, finding 2 picks already. There's a 3rd for Jason. As even though Specs will fall, I imagine.
Down. Yeah, that'll do it. That will be.
Yeah,
Jason fight for Milwaukee.
Jason gets the 5K and just uncontested on the high ground. You know, all of Stevens Point, they wanted to play around that Blizzard on the point, but Jason on the high ground finding a 5K, and once again clutching up the fight for Milwaukee, and now we're down to 1 minute again.
Yeah, we're looking at last fight, or at least if this one goes quick, we can make some swaps on the side of point, but last real fight.
Yeah, imagine you're trying to walk through here, go with the window. Milwaukee
Window
might have to
overclock
fight
is
this.
very strong. Surprised we haven't seen the overclock.
Yeah, I don't know, they're just waiting. I'm surprised there's not been any value. Jason got their own overclock and is using it first.
All right. See what we can do with this. Overclock visor. Manages to take out Lemonies, and they're probably going to have to make some swaps here.
They're just walk it through.
Wow. Very clutch from Jason. Interesting play from Aqua to save his overclock for after the window.
He had it before the window. Jason was sitting at like 70% of the overclock, but they waited so long that Jason built up their own overclock and used it first.
They do get the touch. Can't imagine Lemonies standing here for long.
Yeah, tuck your chin already down. Last minute swaps there. And the beat to seal it as Milwaukee. I mean, what a close map. It really lost for them. The attack wasn't that great, but Jason on the defense, my god, this guy is crazy.
He is, wow. What a masterclass. Nicely done. And that ties up the series 1-1. All right. And then next we're working with Flashpoint, I think, right?
Yes, I believe Flashpoint up next.
All right, yeah, that should be a lot of fun. I'm sure we'll see probably both Orissas here again. Yeah, Specs, honestly, while the attack side was maybe not quite favored for him, he did much better on the defense, and he really, he forced Lemonies into the Orisa mirror, which is obviously something that he didn't really want to be doing, especially on that map. So good on him for forcing that swap, and good on Jason for putting in the work for his team.
Yeah, anytime you can get an opponent to swap off of what they prepared, then you're doing pretty good.
Yep. You're already at an advantage, and they leveraged that advantage. They did a really good job. They, once it got to that last fight, and they just had more ults. Really, the game was more or less decided at that point. They forced the swap to ball. Wow. Really an incredible performance from Jason, and honestly, not to understate the performance of the Stevens Point DPS players as well. A lot of really great plays. The Sojin on their side had some really great overclocks that, on their defense, it just put Milwaukee in the ground. There's nothing they could do.
Yeah, I think, like you said, the overclocks were better out of Stevens Point. So that's definitely a bright spot for them. But yeah, Jason just finding more just raw picks with the railgun.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see what we're going to be playing next. I'd imagine on Flashpoint we end up seeing a lot of Tracer, a lot of... we've seen Reaper, we've seen a lot of Orisa, Kiri Lucio is pretty common. Then again, we could also see one of these teams pick something like a Junker Queen, or even you could do something like a Dive if that's something they're more comfortable on.
Yeah, but it does seem like these Orisa comps are the bread and butter for these teams, as we do see the little variation. We have the Baptiste for Stevens Point versus the Kiriko of Milwaukee. And both teams sometimes playing the Tracer, sometimes not. So we'll see if they want to continue with the Tracer route on Flashpoint, or they could stick with the Mei.
Yep, and it looks like we have seen Stevens Point have chosen New Junk City. So that's definitely an interesting pick. I feel like a lot of teams tend to like to pick Suravasa over New Junk. So my guess is that this is a pick to really try and put Milwaukee on something they're not so comfortable on. And it looks like they might be starting on the Zarya here. That's a very interesting pick, and I don't think it's bad at all if they run it.
Yeah, of course, Zarya very good into the Orisa. We see that,
especially with Reaper.
Yeah, and Reaper, of course, is very good with the Zarya, getting the bubbles. As I think that's what they're going to be rolling on. Moonshot's actually the one that's going to play the Sojourn in this map. See if they can do as good as Jason did on Rialto. as we do see the Tracer for Stevens Point, as well as the Moira.
All right, opting for a little bit more raw healing on this one. Makes a lot of sense. These close-knit fights. Tighten it. All right, early picks. Pick on the dish. Pick onto the Akla, the Sojourn, are they? Sojourns are traded. It looks like Point is going to have the advantage this fight, and they are going to get the first cap.
It's actually insane. For most of that fight, I see 4 people on Milwaukee that are under 50 HP, 50% HP. They just got out healed, I think. Even with the Stink Dish sitting at 60%, the Moira, the extra healing you get from the Moira,
it makes a huge
in those
difference.
Really short fights.
Yep. Both bubbles early, kind of get some charge, makes a lot of sense. All right,
watching
out
fast outside the. Specs going really low.
Yeah, makes sense
when
you see both bubbles come out. And okay, Specs does end up falling for this. See if we can get a pick on a Jason. Looks like they're trying to back up. Oh,
Not able to back up in time though. Akla goes down.
And they
the
are
pulse bomb
here.
does go wide.
Chin falls. Let's see if this Kitsune Rush can pull it back from Milwaukee. Hard to say, but I think they're doing it. And with the Moira fallen, it's only a matter of time till the Orisa falls too. That'll do it.
Just the extra stall for a little more percent. 80% already for Stevens. I don't know who's on point here. I don't know. Aklip found his way. He's just staggering himself now.
Poor guy.
Yeah. It is what it is. But that's an extra few percent for Milwaukee, as they do have now this Death Blossom. We expect to get the Zarya bubble to go along with it. See if they can find any picks with it.
I imagine Stevens Point just wants to amp in here.
I think we're going for the Death Blossom now. It just gets speared out.
Almost. If that Suzu was just a little bit more well-timed.
The beat counting the Orisa ult as Lemon is really low. Even the grab on top of it by Milwaukee. Really wanted to secure that fight.
Oh my goodness, and they're just able to squeeze out Tucker Chin.
Yeah, I think with the death on Lucio, nobody from Stevens Point is going to be able to touch.
Wow, and Lemonies make the swap onto the mirror.
They swapped off Orisa now.
Wow.
So 2 maps in a row, Milwaukee has able to force Stevens Point to change what they were playing. As they actually do get the touch on the point. Beat engage.
A lot of ults being used on both sides. Moonshot got the overclock of the bank. Let's see what Echo can do. Pick on a dish, pick on a Jason. Tucker Chin ends up falling. You got the Coalescence from Toreador, looking to burn through these bubbles. And it's looking like Point is managing to flip it back.
Specs needs to stay alive if Milwaukee has any chance to get back at this point. They're very weak though, and Stevens Point's looking to run at them. I don't think anyone from Milwaukee will touch.
Looks like,
no.
Yeah. Point's gonna get the first point.
Yeah, great recontest there. I thought it was over. I thought Milwaukee was getting that point for sure, but the touch from the Tracer and the beat engage just able to be enough for Stevens Point. As Specs probably looking for a grab here.
It's a good one. Trades on both sides. Both tanks still alive. I mean, he does end up falling because his Kiriko was down. Yeah.
Even without the supports
for
UW-Milwaukee, they are able to win it out. As they are still quite low, so Stevens Point, they might try to go back in this fight, but a fully charged Specs is still dangerous. Oh, we're actually on the. Okay. Wait.
Oh no! Oh.
I thought.
Oh, Toreador.
So I was under the impression we were on Bomb Class, but I guess we were playing on Junkyard.
I guess so.
I don't think Stevens Point knew what was going on there. But they are going to fight for this.
I mean, look, I'd be lying if I said that same thing has to happen to me. You get confused what point it is.
Yeah.
You don't quite know. In a sloppy fight with a grab like that, sometimes you get a little disoriented. It's looking like Stevens Point will be able to take it regardless, with Milwaukee having 47% already improved.
It was an expensive fight though, using the grab and the coalescence there. Milwaukee, with this Kitsune rush and the overclock, might be able to find a quick pick. And
yeah, Takuchin needs to farm this beat if they want to have a chance of winning this fight.
It's weak though. And now as the overclock comes through, no other ults so far from Milwaukee.
Being aggressive.
Does find value though.
Now Specs has this grab to work with, but Dish did manage to farm the beat in time. Let's eat this minute.
But he gets Pulse Bomb.
Oh my goodness. Jason, 2 picks on the back.
The Pulse Bomb was massive from XWASD. Dish not able to use that beat, but Milwaukee still with the Graviton Surge and the Kitsune Rush. They'll close out the fight. And now they have this beat for the overclock or even the own beat of Stevens Point.
Coming up on this Death Blossom as well for Jason. Really curious to see what he's going to be able to do with this, but they've got to survive this overclock first. Beats coming out from both sides. Moves not going well. That's a great offering on the left coast, and it's a long fight. Manages to get the Death Blossom. Active dies. Tracer is 1 HP.
The grab is really good though.
Grab. Oh, they do manage to convert the kill on the Specs, but Jason still in there. Can he make it work? Lemonade falls. It's still winnable. The Distinctish is still alive along with Jason.
Yeah, still
and
double
Dish.
supports to keep Jason
This is
alive.
anyone's fight, but
they are gonna fall.
He just falls. And that's going to be this point for Stevens Point.
Yeah, it was really close.
Wow.
Jason actually able to find value out of the Death Blossom in that fight, and staying alive for a long time. But
these points are so back and forth. It's incredible.
Yeah, they're very close. Stevens Point, they're always just able to slightly edge them out, though.
All right, we got Kitsune Rush coming up for Distinctish, as well as Beat for Specs. Takuchin needs to farm a beat of his own, or sorry, grab for Specs. Looks like Takuchin is just going to be able to get there just in time.
Huge grab.
Wow. All right, Beat coming out, but Toreador still falls. It's a huge pick from Specs. Excellent grab. Distinctish falls. They might have to commit the beat on the side of Dish if they want to win this. And they do.
They will use the beat. Only hits 2, but I think it's still enough for Milwaukee. Distinctish made the mistake in that fight using TP Suzu onto Jason, trying to keep him alive, but Jason was already in the Wraith form at that point. So the Suzu gets wasted and Distinctish gets cut out with no abilities. And because he fell down, Dish was forced to use the sound barrier.
That's even worse than a 2-for-1. He just fed.
Yeah, I mean, but Milwaukee still has a lot of other ults to work with here. As Jason got value out of the last Death Blossom, see if he can get value out of this one.
And no beat to play around that, although they are coming up on... Ooh, oh, well, might not even be needed.
No overclock there when you're dead.
Wow. Yep. Kitsune overclock. Yeah, you gotta kite that or beat, and they didn't have beat.
Yeah, yep. Was a very fast fight for Milwaukee, so Stevens Point should be able to get another touch here. But Jason's hiding behind them. Does get spotted out by the Tracer though, and he falls. Oh no!
Wow, this is a big pick for Point. Yeah, I mean he clearly didn't think there were that many people there. I mean, yeah, the bubble could have been committed from Specs. He had the Wraith. Now we've got overclock. Lots of ults being used on the side of Point.
Yeah, see if they can find the kills they need to. I think they will. Jason gonna use the Death Blossom finding 2?
Death Blossom coming back to spawn.
The Tracer is very weak.
1 HP.
Still in this fight. Distinctish still alive.
And Toreador finds the pick.
Jason is
It's
still
all up to
alive.
Jason at 1 HP.
Not able to pull it out.
Right. Almost made a hero play there.
It was very close. As still more staggers here. Moonshot's going to be on the point, but the cap does come through for Steven's point. Grabs here for both teams as Dish 70% to that sound barrier. If Steven's point goes fast enough, he will not be able to get that sound barrier.
Yeah, and same with Tucker Shin, only he just got to 90. See.
The grab hits just the Moira, but it's still a good fit.
Pretty good grab. Oh, and a huge grab on the side of Lemonese. Oh, and the Ajax!
The Ajax for Dish. And the counter beat from Tucker Shin.
Makes sense. It's pretty much the last fight.
Yeah. He got the beat as soon as he hit 100%, but it's just not fast enough. As Milwaukee now in the last minute swaps, I don't think they're gonna be able to touch this.
All right, and that is our that's our map 2 or 3.
Yeah, all 3 of the points were super close, but Steven's point they found a way to win the last fight on all of them.
Yeah, they found openings and they leveraged them. I mean, Jason had some great plays, but we need to start seeing similar plays from Specs and from.
Oh, he just chucked that grab. Wow.
Damn.
What a grab.
Yeah, very impressive map from both teams. Although, yeah, Steven's point did a great job adapting. They did a great job. I mean, every point was a new challenge. Every point, Milwaukee, they tried to adapt back and they tried to make these changes, but it just wasn't enough. And honestly, it ended up seeming a little more like almost a snowball. As the Ulticon it ended up being like, Steven's point was favored at first, so they would get it to 99, or at least higher up there, like 70-ish. And then Milwaukee would be favored with their ults, and they would win. But then by the time Milwaukee exhausts all theirs, all Steven's point needs is one fight, and at that point they have the advantage. And that happened it happened every point. So
yeah. Does seem like in those last fights, especially right there at the end, it was really close.
It really
if Dish
was.
had an extra 5%, charging that sound barrier, he gets it off. And then the Kitsune rush was just there as well. And so maybe Milwaukee, they win that fight, and then who knows what goes on the rest of the map.
Yeah,
But
it's absolutely
it was
possible. That could have gone
very
either way
close.
for sure. Wow, yeah. Very well played from both teams. And then I think the next map we're looking at, what is it?
Push.
Hybrid? Push.
Push is next.
I thought it was hybrid last time too, and it wasn't. I was wrong both times. All right. So I know we saw Queen Street in our last match, although looks like Milwaukee has opted to pick Esperanza. Definitely is a map you can play a lot of different comps on. Feel pretty comfortable playing dive and pretty comfortable playing that brawl that we've seen. I wonder if we'll see more Zarya here. I kind of doubt it, but it seemed like it worked pretty well for point on that last map.
Yeah, I wonder, maybe we might go back to the Orisa, might still play on the Zarya. It's interesting that we saw the Zarya on New Junk, and we didn't see it at all on Rialto. I wonder why that might have been. Maybe coaches between the maps said, hey, maybe we play the Zarya instead.
That's very true. Plus, Zarya on New Junk makes a little more sense. There's a lot more of those tight corners, a lot more high grounds, a lot less wide open space for an Orisa to just shoot you for free with.
That is true.
Because you got to get there on Zarya. That's the problem. You got to get there. And on Rialto, that's a lot harder than it is on New Junk. And they did a great job.
It's a very true point, as we're not going into the map. I don't think we have any subs or anything like that.
Ooh.
So, yeah.
Wasn't it? Wasn't it Point that won?
But yes,
the
I
last
think
map?
Stevens Point did win that last one.
Yeah,
It's just a
I
little,
thought so. A little,
just a scoreboard
a
error.
slight error.
Venture, maybe? Venture from
That'd be
Stevens Point?
cool.
I would love to see it.
I bet you would.
Yeah, you see my
Alright.
picture? Genji, perhaps? I don't know.
That'd be cool. Alright. Sticking to something a little more traditional, and it looks like Specs wants to keep the Zarya, although traditionally that tends to fail in the arms of Ramatra.
Yeah, Stevens Point, they're going to go back to the Ramatra from map 1, and I like it here. I think it's, especially seeing this Zarya from Milwaukee, they're probably quite happy to play this matchup, as everything else is just a straight mirror.
Alright, going into this fight quick. Specs trying to play back. He doesn't want them to get an advantage off his bubbles. Oh, and tuck your chin. Just gets caught out in the open.
Yeah, he went for Boob onto Specs, but Specs
It's a good opening pick from
charged
Jason. Milwaukee not quite taking advantage of the space quite yet, and they get picked right on back.
Specs is so low, does actually need the Suzu to stay alive.
They
as,
need someone to be peeling.
I think they're able to stabilize here. But Jason yeah,
falls.
he gets the dive instead.
Yeah, and see, that's one of the problems with Zarya into this Ramatra comp, is you have to be so much faster, because Ramatra sustains just so much better than Zarya. All Zarya has is that extra, I don't know, what, 400 health of bubbles? Whereas, you know, Ramatra, he's got the shield, he can slow you off, you know, cut off your angles. He can just hold that right click on that block, and he won't take damage, plain and simple.
Yeah, you would assume naturally that the extra damage from the Zarya in a longer fight would be better, but no, because of that ram block, Stevens Point's able to just stay alive through it all.
Alright, it's a good grab. Tuck your chin does fall. Lemony's with the ram ult, looking to take out Dish. Let's see if Specs can leverage an advantage here.
He's caught on the high ground. It's not a place
This
you
is
want
really
to
kind of
be.
a bad spot to be. Getting shot from multiple angles, and he's really out in the open. Nothing he can do.
Yeah. I think Specs needs to get off to Zarya. Yeah, he's
would
going to swap
agree,
to the
yeah.
Orisa.
Makes sense.
Yeah, you need... The Zarya just is not going to work into this ram comp.
Yeah, you need to be able to survive, which, you know, I mean, good on him for picking the Orisa.
Stevens Point, they've already gotten the cap and already pushed way past 70 meters now, but Specs?
Specs with the play. He
Yeah,
comes out a little late for Aklib.
Immediate value off the Orisa swap. And
Whoa!
Oh my god.
What a
Jason.
shot from Jason! Both traces end up falling. Now let's see which tank can sustain longer. Suzu comes out, and it looks like Specs is going to be looking to go for the back line. Back here go. Nowhere is safe. Suzu does end up falling along with Tuck Your Chin, and now it's just Lemony's on the point. And the fight goes inside of Milwaukee, or on towards the side of Milwaukee.
Yeah, so just as how Zarya got out-sustained by Ram, Ram gets out-sustained by Orisa.
Very true.
So, it's now flipped on the head, where Milwaukee, they want to take these longer fights.
And Lemony's
because
makes
the
the swap.
Orisa just takes so much less resources, and yeah, we're back to the Orisa mirror.
Chin falls,
Specs is in the
with the
middle
pick.
of Stevens Point.
which is
my.
exactly where he wants to be. Wow, nicely done from Specs. You know, I really think a silent carry of these fights on the side of Stevens Point is XWSD with on that Tracer. He's really, especially when they were on the Zarya, really making that Zarya's life hell. Always being shot from multiple angles. He's really making Toreador look good in these fights that they're winning, because taking care of that Tracer and your Orisa is like an impossible task, and he's handling it great. Now,
Yeah.
Dish has that sound barrier, but Action doesn't quite have his, so he's quite responding with the rush of their own.
Milwaukee
Coming out from
using
Dish.
both support ults though.
A lot of bolts. Toreador managed just falls, and they couldn't quite convert. Yeah, the sound barrier from Dish was just a little too much for them.
It was really good kite from Milwaukee. After the rush comes out from Stevens Point, they walk past the arch around the corner and then re-engage with their own Kitsune rush and beat.
Yep.
They get the fight win, and Toreador is going to swap off and go back to the Moira. It worked quite well on New Junk. A little mistake with the orb, but we'll see what they can do here. As the extra healing might be able to keep the Orisa alive a little bit longer.
Alright, excited to see what's going to happen with this Pulse Bomb. Looking at Orisa ult here.
Sticks it onto the Orisa.
It does end up falling. XWASD can pick on a Jason. Fight could easily go either way. One ult. Changes the tempo.
Tuck your chin does have this beat if Stevens Point want to walk in with
ult.
Yeah, we'll see.
See what Specs can do with this Terra Surge.
Milwaukee getting dangerously close to taking the lead here.
Waiting for these cooldowns to come back. Well, just enough time for Lemonies to come back. Not a lot of other things going on. Right.
Beat to counter the Orisa ult here from Stevens Point, as Distinguish now goes in with the Kitsune rush. Toreador not quite there to the Coalescence.
Alright, so close to the lead there.
Yeah, the picks come through for Milwaukee. Toreador about 10% off that Coalescence. If they had it, I imagine they would have used it.
They do manage to get the pick,
but they did not have it in time. And Milwaukee has now taken the lead over 80 meters for them. And Stevens Point, outside of this Coalescence, they don't really have much. Milwaukee, they have not only the Pulse Bomb, but also this beat. And Jason has Overclock.
Really what's going to matter this fight is how Dish uses the sound barrier, if he even decides to use it. And he does. Popping it for the Coalescence. Lemonies is going to have that Orisa ult online soon. Let's see if we can get some picks before we see that. Moonshot needs to use his Pulse Bomb, try and get some opening for his team.
It's a really big result, though.
Dish falls.
Lemonies is really weak sitting in the corner.
Low, but Aqua bails him out.
Nice shot by the Sojourn. And Stevens Point. The push does stop there for Milwaukee, but an extra 20 meters versus Stevens Point 77. So
I think they'll all get close spawn.
Yes, should be everyone getting close spawn here. I imagine Milwaukee is going to come up through that high ground. We'll see where Stevens Point wants to take the fight, if they want to play it near the center or more on that bridge. Looks like it's going to be a fight on the bridge.
Tuck your chin, getting speared off here. He's very close to a sound barrier of his own. Specs has that Terra Surge. Distinguish. Chin falls. Now the Orisa ult is pretty much free now, but you don't even need to use it because Aqua falls anyway. Yeah, without that speed to get away to kite the Kitsune, there's really not much you can do.
Yeah, tuck your chin falling there. And like you said, no speed, no sound barrier.
No hope.
And no hope for Stevens Point. As Milwaukee, they pull it back, they reactivate the forward spawns, looking to extend their lead a little bit more here. If I'm Milwaukee, I'd probably dry fight this. I don't think I even use the Orisa ult. With only 1 minute left, realistically, you should just stack 5 ults.
That's a great point.
Win the fights like that. But we'll see what they choose to do here.
Interesting Pulse Bomb. Looking at a lot of ults being used for Stevens Point. They kept the Terra Surge. Alright, well Dish is going to have his beat. You know, I think he was really trying to force Takuchin's sound barrier, and he just didn't do it with that Terra Surge.
Yeah, it wasn't the value he wanted. I think he wanted I don't think he even caught the supports in it.
I don't think so either.
It does force the overclock out, but I mean, it's not the greatest value here, and we're really looking at 2 team fights, I think, for Stevens Point, maybe 3. That they would need to regain the lead. They have this Coalescence. I imagine they'll try to engage with that first.
Alright, good usage of the cooldowns from Lemonies. Distinguish forced to commit the Suzu. A lot of ultimates online from Milwaukee.
will live. We have the overclock now from Jason. Finds
And
Tuck Your Chin
in.
before he can use the beat.
Wow. Oh, and Lemonies ate the pulse bomb as well.
Yeah, they did, but without this beat here, Pulse Bomb is
Oh
really
my
good.
goodness, it's huge. Wow, who needs beat when you just have XWSD killing your entire team?
Yeah, Distinguished,
Wow.
they thought the fight was over. They used the Kitsune Rush to end it right there, but the Pulse Bomb from XWASD is so big. Now we have one beat from both teams as Specs is on. He's on
the Doomfist.
The Doomfist.
Let's see who commits the beat first.
He had Heroics on Doomfist in the last map, or on
Going for
Rialto.
the engage.
He
Toreador
finds a
falls.
pickle again.
That is really big.
The beat's going away now as
Alright, well they
Milwaukee
need to
stand
convert
for-
the rest. Orissa's 1 HP.
Yeah, without the
looking for the
Moira
Tracer.
heals, the Orisa, it
Orissa's
just
on the timer.
falls.
He can't quite make it. Suzu committed. The Tracer falls, and it's looking like it's going to be in favor of Milwaukee. Yeah. We're going to map 5.
Specs once
Wow.
again coming back on the Doomfist, finding a pick, somehow letting Milwaukee win the fight. Heroics once again as we're on to map 5.
Now that is impressive. Holy. Oh. Yeah, very well played
Wow.
from both tank players, and honestly, that was a very heads-up read from Tuck Your Chin, knowing that in that last fight with the with Specs' Orisa ult, knowing that he didn't have to commit that sound barrier. It almost was enough. I mean, if they didn't have the sound barrier going into that last fight, they certainly
was
would
over.
have lost.
Yes.
And it was so close. It was such a fast engage from Milwaukee onto Toreador, picking off the Moira before the Lucio doesn't have a chance to beat Tuck Your Chin. I mean, I don't even blame him. Yeah, they beat it. They rushed in and they got the pick.
Specs made a great play
He did.
and,
He did.
won the map for Milwaukee. As now we turn our eyes to map 5. It's going to be hybrid now.
Exciting.
And I'm getting word that it is King's Row.
Oh boy, now this will be fun. Honestly, it doesn't even matter what they pick. It's just a fun map.
What is better than King's Row for a map 5 deciding the series? Who goes forward in the winner's bracket?
I'm excited. I'm really pumped.
I am too. This is gonna be great.
All right, yeah. So I mean, are we expecting to see the same support? You think we're gonna see more Moira or more Kiri? I'm thinking we're gonna see more Moira. I think that makes a little more sense on this map compared to Kiri, where everyone is playing so tightly knit. You know.
Yeah, we've seen a few different things. We've seen the BAP, we've seen a little bit of the Kiri, but I do think the Moira has been getting really good value for Steven's point. And like you said, especially on King's Row, the Moira can find a lot of value in those close range encounters.
And
So
those
I think we're heading into
coalescences
the map.
as well. All right, here we go. Map 5.
Ooh.
All right, pretty typical comp from Milwaukee. We're seeing Distinctish on the Kiri again. That makes sense. He was on the Kiri the entirety of the last map, right?
Yes, I think he has played the Kiri, I think the entire series,
I think you might be
actually,
right
because I don't think he's played anything else, and he's been quite good with it.
there. He has. He really has. These Kitsune rushes have just single-handedly won them fights.
As Steven's point, looking to swap it up a little bit, go back to the Mei that they used on Rialto.
Definitely
And
could
I like
work.
it.
Yeah, I like
it
it
in
too.
King's Row. We see a full rotate from Steven's point. They're
Now-
going to go high ground.
That's an inventive rotate.
Yeah, normally people would just walk past the statue, but they're going all the way up through the theater.
Really don't want to get walled off by the Mei that Milwaukee doesn't have.
Yeah. Now they have 5 people on this high ground. It's really impressive here for Stevens Point. Milwaukee, they gotta play really safe, make sure they're not gonna get caught off by some Sojourn Rail or something like that. As Stevens Point just biding the time. Now they're dropping.
Saw an opening, and they're going for it. Aklub finds the pick on a moonshot. Down the Tracer. You could still win this, for sure, on the side of Milwaukee. Depends. They've completely flipped the map. Jason on a nasty off angle up on the high ground here. Although he does get forced down. Still looking for a potential pick. Doesn't quite find it.
Ooh, Sojourn so weak. They will fall.
Yep.
He's got the overclock already.
Wow. Oh my gosh, and Lemons does fall. They get 1 tick, almost a second. Wow.
Oh my.
What a showing. What a showing from Jason.
This guy is electric. Aklub is 35% to an overclock. And Jason already used his and killed 3. Like, what is there to say?
Well, I mean, both teams coming up with their sound barriers. Both support outs on either side. Lemons almost has his Terra Surge. Okay, double rush. Let's see if anyone commits a sound barrier here. Probably just waiting for those results.
Jason he got caught. He slid the wrong way. It might have been a boot there from Tuck Your Chin.
Connect. Both sound barriers used. Terra Surge from both teams. Does not doing much.
Scrappy fight all around. Specs is in the back line.
Members of both teams
manages to find a pick, but yeah.
Not quite enough.
The cleave damage of the Mei when they're standing inside of each other. Too much for the Kirikos to sustain through. And I imagine Stevens Point is going to get the cap now. It's just a few members of Milwaukee left. Specs actually back on the Doomfist once again. Maybe he pulls out a miracle.
Well, he's done it before.
He's done it twice already, so maybe a 3rd time.
They're looking to full hold this. They have the Blizzard. No, that's interesting. That's very creative. No gold on the Orisa.
The Suzu's already out. I imagine we go for the Blizzard now.
Let's see. Do we catch anything? Dish falls. Oh my!
And the headshot.
Yeah, okay. Not quite enough.
You know, they
went
nice
for
it.
From Milwaukee.
I don't know if that was necessarily the correct decision from Milwaukee. You're losing a lot of ult charge on your tank, but it did force the Blizzard, so and a little bit extra time. So it's
not a decision I would have made. Yeah. I'm thinking, yeah, keeping your ult charge as the Orisa. Wow. Okay.
What a pick.
All right. Yeah. Dish falls.
Yeah, I don't think he saw that one coming.
I don't know who would. And this is why they're keeping Toreador. Or sorry. Yeah, Toreador on this Kiriko.
Yeah, that's the one thing the Moira can't give you is those kunai down the range. Jason, he gets caught again.
Jason falls. Kitsune is
he
too
did
much
not
for
get
him.
the memo. The rest of the team, they backed up when Toreador used the Kitsune rush, but Jason did not, got caught out, and Stevens Point making it really quickly through B right now.
Soundberry for Tuck Your Chin. Dish doesn't quite have his online yet. Looking like ult advantage is going in the favor, I think, of Point, but it could go either way depending on how this pulse bomb goes.
Yeah, depending on how fast this fight goes, XWASD might be able to get this Blizzard up again, 85%.
Oh. The beat is very good for Tuck Your Chin, but the overclock does manage to get Lemonies. Alright, and they kill it.
Blizzard,
oh, it's close.
The Blizzard comes out late for Stevens Point as the shots from Toreador are able to finish it off. I think you probably want that one back if you're XWASD. They do win the fight regardless, but not finding much with that Blizzard.
Now finding the cap, 3 minutes on the clock. It's looking good for Point. Oh my, that was close.
Yeah, Dish still 91% to I think his first sound barrier, maybe his second. Probably it's got to be his second.
I think maybe even his third.
No, I don't think it's his third.
No,
There's no
second
way.
it is. I think you're right. Actually, yeah, I think you're right.
He was sitting on it for a while there. He was sitting at like 60-70%, but now he does have it. I imagine to counter this Kitsune rush, but with Jason falling. Yeah, now the sound barrier comes through from Dish. It's a little late, doesn't save Specs. As Milwaukee, they're gonna have to back up.
Yeah, brutal fight. Specs back on the Doomfist. We're seeing what almost up to the overclock from Moonshot, and we also saw before that last fight. XWSD and, or actually no, it was Jason and Moonshot. They swapped who was playing over the Sojourn. So that's interesting. One is Jason on the May. Overclock from Moonshot. Tuck your chin ends up falling.
Shot on the XWASD. The May is really low on point, but they're getting healed up.
Thank goodness.
As
the attackers
get moved off the map, and the Blizzard is there from Steven's point. I think they're gonna cap this one.
I think so too. Somber to close it out.
Just staggers now for Milwaukee. Get any extra time you can. Kitsune rush as
See if
well.
we can get anything out of this. The Doomfist is back. Looks like all falling to the wind. And Steven's point capping with a critical minute and 4 seconds. See, that's a huge difference between 59 seconds.
Definitely. Extra 5 seconds matters a lot on Hybrid, because if Milwaukee finishes in overtime, then they're not going to get a chance to attack again.
Yep.
As, you know, on point C there, it was a really interesting fight where Toreador had used the Kitsune rush, and I thought Dish would have used the beat to counter, but he ended up saving it. And when he finally did use it, Specs was already dead at that point. And so it was kind of a late beat, and I imagine if that one had just been a little bit better, then Specs probably doesn't have to swap over to that Doomfist, and maybe they get an actual real fight.
That's very true, yeah. Honestly, I think these Doomfist swaps from Specs, I hate to say it, but I think it might be a little cope. I don't think that Doomfist is really going to apply enough pressure to Lemonies on the Orisa to really convert any kills, especially when you have Toreador on this Kiriko. The Suzu kind of invalidates everything Doomfist is trying to do. You're trying to go in, collapse on one guy, and with Suzu, I mean, it just gives Lemonies a chance. You know, throw that spear, throw everything you can. XWASD gets a chance to get a wall off, and then there's nothing Doom can do.
Yeah, I think maybe the Doom was able to find value in the previous maps because Toreador wasn't on the Kiriko. You know, they were playing the Baptiste on Rialto, and then the Moira on Esperanza.
True.
But now on the Kiriko, it's a lot harder
Not
to get
nearly as
get
much
fixed.
appeal on Bap and Bap and Moira.
As Milwaukee, they're going to go back to the Zarya. Going through Hotel, made a good rotate.
Alright, Jason cut off a little bit. Just getting a little bit of peel. Moonshot gets one shot.
Kiriko headshot from Toreador. He's been finding so many picks this map.
He really has. Maywall,
Kunai.
and that's been sealed the deal.
Yeah, that's the end of the first push from Milwaukee. I like the idea going through Hotel. As long as you don't get caught off by the Maywall, which unfortunately it did happen.
And they really do need to find a way to force Aklib off this high ground. Otherwise, I'm not sure he's up there right now. But if he finds his way up there, he can't stay. You're not winning that fight.
Yeah, if I'm Milwaukee, I do want this Tracer going on the flank, or somebody contesting them on the high ground. As we see, they're going to do that right now. Jason's going up for the high ground as well.
And with Tucker Chin and Aklib up there, anything could happen. We're going to rush this Zarya.
Oh, he's in trouble.
Boy. And yeah, he's nothing to do about that one. And this is the exact same problem that we had on Esperanza, right? Playing the Zarya, you just can't sustain nearly as long as an Orisa. If he was on Orisa there, chances are he might be able to wait until his team can break that wall, or his Suzu might end up getting more value. You know, give him time for his cooldowns to come back. Yeah, having that beam damage for Zarya or into the Orisa is really nice, but is it better than being Orisa yourself? It's hard to say.
Yeah,
Oh,
we do have the grab though.
It's
It
a
does
big
catch
grab.
us too.
Oh
Really
my
huge.
goodness. And the beat from Tucker Chin just too late. Let's see if we can get any value at all.
Yeah,
Quite
now that
looks
the
like
beat's
it.
over, Jason with the overclock, Tucker Chin, 1 HP, will fall. And Milwaukee, they're going to get this cap off of that really, really big grab from
Wow.
by Specs.
Very clean from Specs. Nicely done.
Yeah, they didn't even have to use the Kitsune
Whoa.
or the beat to
Whoa,
save
whoa,
it
whoa.
for the Blizzard, and that's a Reinhardt.
Whoa! Yeah, baby.
Yo, boy.
I like what I'm seeing.
All right,
let me-
Jack,
let's see it.
I'm gonna need to give you. Let's see the pro Reinhardt.
You got it. Well, I like him taking
strat.
space here. You know they're gonna push a point. Zarya doesn't have a lot of bubbles here. They forcing the beat is really good. Hiding is a little bit better. You know they've got the Consider Rush to come back at you with. Holding this corner is great. You want to give the Sojourn time to farm her overclock. All right, just gonna play passively until we see some bubbles, and then I imagine. All right.
Someone's in the back line.
team.
It's Moonshot. He's 1 HP
Shot
there.
being a distraction.
Gonna run
Really got a
away.
lot of value there.
And now here's his
Comes the
Kitsune.
Rush. It's a good
But that's
wall.
a really good wall.
Oh my goodness.
The
TP
overclock.
Suzu. See, not any picks converted yet. And Jason
Finally
falls.
is one headshot on Dish. He's 1 HP. Needs to run away.
Oh, it's a
There's
great
the grab.
Oh
Gets
my
4.
goodness, it's a huge grab.
Once
Alright.
again, Specs with a massive grab.
Yeah, you know, as much as I'd like to critique the Reinhardt, that grab was just too much.
Yeah, sometimes there's not really much the Reinhardt can do.
True.
That's kind of the thing with that
Often,
hero.
actually. Yeah, that's the case.
He's just kind of there. I mean, he has this shatter. I want to see a 5-man shatter.
I'm so excited.
Or a solo shatter on someone. If he solo shatters Jason, that's value.
That's true. All right, well, you have the window here. You have the beat. You have the shatter. Looking like a really good ult advantage to this point.
We'll see if they go for a window fire strike, something like that.
Let's see. We need to see something, that's for sure.
Jason is just uncontested on this high ground. Nobody's looking at him. The beat from Tucker Chin to counter the overclock. Because finally they look at him.
Alright, Lemons falls quite low. You still have the window in
Sneak
the
Dish gets
bank.
caught though.
Pointer's 1 HP, he dies. Both main supports down. Let's see.
But Dish is 95 to the sound barrier. They might just
That
invest
is-
in here as soon as they got it. Yep.
They do. Lemons has no heals, can't sustain. And that is looking like it's going to be the cap from Milwaukee.
Alright. I like the attempt, Steven's point. Get off Reinhardt. This
That's so
character
true.
sucks.
And they heard
Thank
you.
you.
They heard you.
Thank you. That character, it just doesn't do anything.
For
Unfortunately.
all my Rhine mains out there, I'm so
Yeah,
sorry.
it feels
I
bad.
feel you. I want to play him too.
He's such a fun hero, but he is so mad right now, unfortunately.
Really good ram slow from Lemons. Making Jason off that off angle for a little bit. Keeps this window. Window is kited. Not much value there. They tried to wall it. Jason does manage to get out, which is unreal. Alright, let's see this grab.
No, but it's the Blizzard comes first.
Alright, yeah. Good initiative from Steven's point. Very heads up play. Let's see if Tucker Chin try and farm this sound barrier before Specs feels like he's comfortable enough to grab. It's certainly possible. Lucio can 100% get 30%.
Yeah, if they play slow and they don't realize it, then Tucker Chin's definitely going to get that sound barrier. But yeah, we'll see if Milwaukee can just play fast.
Looks like they're trying to. Ram slow. Going
Ram slow
to delay a
stopping the
little bit.
aggression, though.
Zarya used both bubbles, so doesn't want to get aggressive just yet.
There, okay, the continuing rush to counter the overclock, and there's the grab.
And yeah. Oh, but the lamp is huge.
Yeah, no one's able to shoot the lamp, and finding no value out of the grab there, unfortunately.
Really nice placement from Toreador there.
As Specs is now on to the Orisa.
That about makes sense, yeah.
You know, as much as we like the other tanks, yeah, we're just gonna go back to the Orisa. And Jason, he has the over. Okay, Specs is dead.
All right, going into this fight, let's see what Lemonies can do with this this annihilation. Sound barrier just about in line for both teams. It's gonna be a messy fight, that's for sure. Jason opening it up. Oh, whoa!
What a pick.
Holy smokes! Did Toreador get the beat, or what did it go off?
I'm not sure, but the beat engage now from Milwaukee after the beat from Steven's point's over, but Dish actually getting caught out. I wonder if Lemony is going to use this ram ult. Very weak, probably not. We'll save it, as it's now last fight for Milwaukee. They need to finish with this with time if they want to have any hope of winning the map. Specs 80% to that Orisa ult, and Distinguish 65 to the Kitsune. It's going to be rough.
It is.
We're gonna
Possible, maybe.
see some heroics.
Yeah, I imagine Lemony's gonna be popping this ult any
There
second
it is.
now.
Oh,
No
Specs doesn't get
gold.
in the Orisa
Oh.
ult time. They're going to fall, and the headshot on the moonshot.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's gonna do it. And UWSP will be our victor for today's match.
What a close one. Really came down to the wire many, many times, but
Well played for both teams. It was, I mean, when you go to map 5, it's got to be down to the wire. Two very
Yeah.
evenly matched teams.
it is Steven's point, winning it out in the end.
All right. Sending Milwaukee down to the losers bracket. Not
Yep.
out of the game yet.
Not out of the game yet. They are going to be playing again tomorrow, and if our team, MSOE, if we end up losing, which we won't today, to Madison,
That's
then
correct, yeah.
as far as I'm aware, the game tomorrow, where MSOE versus UWM, will be played on LAN at MSOE. So that's exciting if that
That
ends
would
up
be
happening.
pretty cool. Yeah, that will be exciting.
But it all depends on
Alright.
what happens in the next match, which
Yeah.
is coming up very soon.
Literally right now. So, you know what? I think we might need to go prepare for that, Evan.
Oh, yeah, we do got to play.
Yeah, let's I hope you guys enjoy our match. Hope you enjoyed that one, and we will catch you later.